Hello, Rachel Nasadka from Radical Alchemy. We are moving on to week 8 of my series, Hey Company Founders. This one is titled You Don't Own Me. Stop getting in your own way. Sample my 12-week leadership development pilot instead. Week 8, Delegation and Ownership. Hey, guess what? I'm delegating your destiny, your experience, your outcomes to you. Will you take it? Because I'm tired of living in a world where employees spend the majority of their time and energy trying to guess what lives in someone else's head, just because that person happens to have letters like C, VP, or FOUNDER in their title. Over the past few weeks, I've been focused instead on exploring the ways that leaders need to show up to empower their teams to do the work that is actually necessary. The first few weeks of this series were focused on helping leaders and founders articulate how they lead, where they are creating unnecessary challenges, and how they can regain control of the ship. More recently, I've moved toward creating materials that focus on defining intentional leadership models, including decision rules, ownership, and company standards. We talked about defining what kind of future leader your company will need. We explored how to create an effective decision-making model, even when the work becomes challenging. We looked at what happens when certain leaders or employees are not held to overall company standards. Good, great, we get it. But how do we do it? We do it through delegation. We do it through ownership. We do it through hiring the right people and trusting them. In week 6, we talked about hiring experts, not psychics, about the corrosion that happens on a team when a leader says they want a thought partner, but is truly only interested in a mirror. I'm sorry, but can you remind me who, in fact, is the fairest in the land? I spoke of the worst chief people officer I've worked for, one who weaponized her role against those working tirelessly to help her achieve her goals, only to discover that we were actually just doing her dirty work. But enough complaining, because we, each of us, have control. So let's focus on solutions. Let's focus on what we can actually do, authentically and with integrity. The first step, as with any situation, is simple self-awareness. If your company is evolving, you know that you too must evolve. You must expand. But space doesn't come from nowhere, and your expansion requires new inputs, responsibilities, and challenges. Time, money, quality, you get 2 out of 3. Pick your poison and don't look back. How? Ask yourself, what still relies on me for completion? Are you, founder or leader, still in charge of decision making, team accountability, cross functional alignment, vision and strategy, plus stakeholder management? If you are, I can promise you, you are doing none of these things well. So, why are you hiring experts, paying them what I assume is a lot of money? It usually is, and then not letting them do their work? In the unfortunate situation I described, what would have been possible if the chief people officer had been more self-aware? If she had assigned responsibility of specific functions, like communications, to the experts she hired and gave them actual decision-making authority. This doesn't mean she doesn't get a say. This doesn't mean that the comms leader gets to make decisions that impact the organization's people. But it does mean that the comms leader, who is literally paid to be an expert in communications, gets the work 90% of the way there. Then the chief people officer tweaks. She makes sure it delivers on what the people of the organization need in order to meet company goals. There might be friction, there might be discussion, there might even be tension. But there is also respect. There is also partnership. There is a better employee experience for those receiving the message and stronger working relationships the next time a problem arises, because there is always a next time. Founders and leaders, what do you need to continue to own? What can you start to share? What can you release completely? What becomes possible when you stop believing you are the smartest person in every room? What happens if you know you don't need a mirror to tell you what's fair?